I should have done this video a long time ago, but I'm kind of glad I didn't, because now I can show you exactly how I honed it in. What do you mean, honed it in? What are you talking about? You see, when you start kayak fishing, you bring everything. You bring everything under the kitchen sink, except for probably what you really need, and that's some skills. Just kidding.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
We're gonna start off at the bow. The first thing that you're gonna see is I have a landing net up here. It's the YakAttack landing net, and it locks in place like this. I ride it up on here. I have it attached to a paddle holder, a YakAttack paddle holder on my captain's bridge. It's really easy to grab it. You have this reinforced area right here for your arm. It's the leverage landing net from YakAttack. Before we get into the kayak, let's talk about our PFDs. We always need a PFD. You don't hit the water without one. I have two different styles. The first one, let me go ahead and put on, is my extra hot weather kayak PFD. It's actually a boat PFD, but when it's super hot out, I wear this, and this is the automatic self-inflating. It also has a manual pull where you can jerk it and it'll pop up. I'm actually gonna do a video of this where I test this out, because you know what? We need to know if these things work. It's a Mustang Survival. The next one I have, this is my kayak life vest, and it's an NRS Chinook. This is the one I got first. Before it got super hot, I would go out, I'd wear this. Oh man, I must have weighed a little bit less than, oh no, wait. The kayak wife was wearing this the other day. Whew, she's a little smaller than I am. All right, as you can see, it has lots of pockets. You can get and you can hold things in. Make sure you rinse these off when you're done with them, especially the zippers. If you don't, the zippers will start to get a little crusty if you're on salt water. Next up, if you can see this is a pretty cool little, it's called line cutters. This right here, you just attach it to your PFD, it's good to go. Anybody who wants a trolling motor should really consider the Native Titan X12.5, because they have actually planned that into the layout of this kayak. You have a mounting place for the motor. It's reinforced. You have your power plate here, these panels. You can actually remove these panels, replace them with other ones. You can order extra ones. I think they're like 12 bucks. The cool thing is these, you drill through these. You don't drill through the whole of the kayak, and they have a seal right around here. That allows you to rig your kayak with all these electronics without actually having to like put any holes in it. And that's pretty awesome if you ask me. Launching and landing the kayak, you need this handle. This kayak, like I said, is super heavy, so you gotta just give it a little oomph. It's a good workout though. Don't underestimate that. You can go, you get your gym day, and you can get your kayak fishing all in one trip. Drain channels here for when the water comes up over the bow, it's gonna run out here. We have our navigation lights. We got that from YakPower. It has glue on the back, and it also has screws that comes with it. And what I did was I put it on the hatch. Now I don't have to drill into my hole. It's pretty cool. If you guys find any value out of this, make sure to subscribe. We're gonna open up the hatch. This is my power station. I have a custom battery box, and I have a deep well battery compartment that I've made. If you're interested in that, leave a comment below and I'll do a video on it. Check out my cool cabling for the lights. I just have a little zip tie on that nub, and it keeps it out of the way. And as you see, as I lower it and I raise it, it doesn't get in the way. Next up is a rescue step. If you flip your kayak or you fall out, you have that hooked up, you can easily get back in. It has some bow line, or not bow line, dock line, and some other floating lines, so that way if I need to tow anybody or if something happens and I need to, I need some rope, I have it. I have a little toolbox, and inside of it I have my registration, I have some tools, I have a little foam in it, so that way it doesn't make a bunch of noise if it's rattling around. Here's my power station. I have the YakPower 8-port, and that allows me to hook up pretty much everything I want and then some. And this is Bluetooth, so you can connect it to your phone. You can turn it off and on from your phone. I have everything zip tied. It's really nice that way when you go to pull things out, you don't get you know, wires all wrapped upon each other, and you know, things just flying everywhere. It's got the fish finder transducer line and everything, and the transducer line goes right down in here, goes through the kayak, and I have that mounted with a YakHobby Garmin GT54 UHD transducer. I have the transducer mounted with the YakHobby custom GT54 transducer mount. It works great. If we look at my captain's bridge, you can see that I have a rear view mirror. I already talked about my paddle holder for my landing net. I have a mount for my Panfish Pro, which is just for my camera, my GoPros. I have my UHD Echo Map 94 SV. You guys are doing freshwater only, you can get the 93 SV or the 73 SV. And it's really a great GPS and fish finder combo. And because it's last year's model, if you can find one, they're usually pretty cheap. Now we're in the cockpit. We've talked about everything on the bow. Now let's talk about everything on the cockpit. We have our pedal drive. The Propel pedal drive from Native Watercraft is great. It has the locking thing so you can bring it up easy. If you do happen to be out on the water and this thing kind of starts clanking a little bit, all you have to do is actually tighten up the pedals onto the drive, and that will actually take away that clanking. It's a 27 pound foot torque that it needs to be, and it is annoying when it starts doing that. You lock it in, everything's good. Now I want to show you something about my in-hull rod holders. These are awesome if you want to transport your rods in the actual yak while you're going under some low brush, or you're going under some trees, mangroves, whatever, or if you transport it while you're trailering to the site. But I want to show you what I've done. I've added scupper plugs to them, and the reason I've added scupper plugs to them is because every time I get out of the water, I wash my kayak. I live in the saltwater region, everybody knows that, and if you don't wash it, you're going to get corrosion and everything. But if you do wash it, and you're like me, the first time you sprayed water all through this hole, this goes all the way through. There's nothing that stops it from water entering the hole while you're spraying it with a hose. So if you're getting a lot of water in your kayak and you wash it afterwards and you don't have these scupper plugs, then chances are you're spraying the water into the kayak yourself. As you can see here, we have our foot controls. You've seen them before. Here's my new prototype that I've been playing with. I haven't actually got it on the water yet. Hopefully this weekend. I've been having a lot of things to do. As you can see, I just kind of went with some quick cuts. That way I can test it out before I really turn into a final product. On the other side, I'm still rocking the version 2. I just wanted to do the one side first. I have my motor lift cleat right here. You take the motor and you just pull it up and you put it right in here. And as you see, the motor is up. It's great. It's a great little cleat. There's many different types. Any cleat will do. I have a double header paddle holder over here, so when I'm using my paddle, I have a quick spot to put it. I have my Omega Pro rod holder on this side. On this side, I have my Zuka 2, I believe, and that Zuka 2 is really nice. I really like the Zuka 2 because it holds the rod a lot steadier, and just it's easier to get the things in and out. Kind of wish I had 2 Zuka 2s instead of the Omega, but you start off, you don't really know what you're going to get. Down here you have your scupper plugs. I do have the scupper plugs where it has the self-bailing hack modification. I'm actually going to do a test to see if that is useful or not. I keep the scupper plugs in here because when you do the motor, or if you have a lot of gear, you're going to sit way lower in the water if the scupper plugs aren't in here. And if I do need to drain it out real quick, I can just pull it. But the self-draining does work to some extent. I'm just not sure that it's as good as taking the scupper plugs out when it gets a lot of water in here. This is the cover. We take that off. We slide our Propel drive down. It's not going to go all the way down because the trailer's down there, but that's how it would go. And then you use this lock to make sure that that propeller stays in place when you bring it back up. Next up, we have some 3600s on either side, just whatever little tackle. I've downsized the tackle that I bring. As you can see, I don't have as much. I have that these two 3600 and these two 3600. Then I have some Dr. Juice and some chapstick because I need that when I'm out on the water. These have my paddle tails and my power prawns, my shrimp style lures. Over here we'll have my hooks, and over there we'll have hooks and some top waters and submersibles. Nave Titan-X 12.5 has this sliding tray, which is nice. I want to sit a little higher, so I added the seat risers. One of the best things about this is the swivel seat, and as you can see, it's pretty slick, and I use it a lot. It's one of the best features of the Yak. I upgrade to the BerleyPro handle. I think it is actually a recommended upgrade. I would do it because I have done it. I'm rocking the native Sidekick. It's instrumental in actually being able to get this thing off and on in the water off. Today though, I didn't bring all my wheels. I just brought one that you guys might not have seen a whole lot of, because most videos show the standard wheels or they show the C-Tug wheels, and I do have all three wheels. These ones are super great on the sand. They're awesome. Most of the time I'm going to use the C-Tugs or the standard ones if I'm at a boat ramp or anything like that, or it's hard packed dirt. But there is sometimes where I go to the beach and I need that. When you're out on that water, it gets hot. You got to have some refreshments. I bring a cooler. This is a lightweight cooler, and it's from Native. I actually got it for free from my kayak dealer, Bill Jackson's, over in Pinellas County. It's a great cooler. It's very lightweight. It even has the rod holders that come with it. This kayak also comes with a paddle holder and a YakAttack Mighty mount already with the Yak, so you can attach track mounted accessory. I do put my boom stick over here. We're going to talk about the NK300 power system now. It's a Newport Vessels 36 volt 40 amp hour battery. I have the quick disconnect so I could pull this in and out easily and not have to undo cables. I took out the tray and I used the foam that came with the battery to mount it, and I reinforced the bottom of the foam. This fits perfect. It doesn't bounce around. I have my YakAttack BlackPak. It's OD green because I was in the Army, and it's made in the USA, just like me. Inside of it, you see I don't have a lot of stuff. I actually use this just for mainly transporting things. I have my paddle leash. I have my fish stick. I have some sunscreen. I have some rags. I have a horn in case I get in trouble. I have some extra spectra cord, my hook removers, extra fishing line, 2 types. I have some new lures that I got from Salt Strong right here, called the Crystal. It's supposed to be good for fishing at night. I haven't had a chance to fish at night. I have a rusty knife. That's about it. Oh, and I have some extra of these I have some extra safety pins for the NK300. That's it. That's all I really bring in that. And the reason is because I wasn't using all the other stuff that I was bringing. Now I do bring 3 to 4 rods. Each rod I have something a little bit different. On here I have a paddle tail. I was doing some freshwater, murky water fishing. Typically I have a clear, slam shady colored or pink paddle tail with a weedless setup. I have power prawns, natural power prawns. I either will have that on a weedless or I'll have it on a football jig head like this. And I need to clean this one up. Then over here, this was the last time I went out, I was doing some live bait fishing with shrimp. And then I'll have, you know, most of the times I'll have a 4th rod, and that might have a top water or something like that, whatever I'm feeling adventurous with. In the back here, we have our wires that come for the motor. This goes to the controller, this goes to the battery, and I have it set up with some electrical tape here just to keep the water from getting in there. And I've been playing on this other one with a little bit of moldable silicone that does non-hardening to see how well that does. I actually have 2 layers of molding, so if it gets through the first layer, it's not going to get through the second layer. And then you know, they all go through these type of plugs. Showed you the paddle mount. Then we have our YakAttack flag. It's upside down, and it's our safety light. You turn this thing on. You're not going to really be able to see it right now anyways, but you turn that on and it's the furthest point of your yak, and people know that you're out there when it's dark. Finally made it to the stern of the boat, but we're not done. We have another side. There's a couple things I want to show you on that really quick, but let's get to the NK300. I bent my first motor lift, so I made my own out of this piece of aluminum. Again, I'm going to shape it up. Now that I know that this works great, I just need to shape it up. I just haven't taken the time to do it. And then I've already shown how all these lines run. I'm not going to talk about that. I do want to talk about how this kayak is set up for a motor. They already have a place for it to mount. You just have to bolt it in. And on either side, you have places for micro power poles. And that is awesome. You just mount them on. Put part on the rail, part on here, and you're good to go. That is my next addition. It's coming soon, coming very soon. I use the Garmin LiveScope mount to put the motor lift guide on the front. It works a lot better. It doesn't flop. I also have the innovative Sportsman NK180 steering triangle on here. It works great. I did have to hack that up a little bit to make it work. It's really simple. It just requires 3 pieces of Flex Seal tape. It's strategically placed. If you're interested in how I got that, it has not slipped. I have not had any issues. It's been great. Then you have the motor. If I bring the rudder down, see the rudder? It's a quick drop. What is attached to this cleat over here. We did the rudder. On this side, I'm just gonna go real quick. I have a cleat. The other side of the kayak, there is a cup holder here. It's great. Rod holder and a rod holder on both sides here. This is how I typically have it set up. This is where I put my motor control for the NK300. That's at home. Here's my Zuka 2. The other thing I want to show you on this side, this power port right here that I just installed, it's actually tied into my LiFePro 4 battery that powers my whole kayak. Like I said, everything but the motor. I have a little light over here. I have a little volt reader, and I have a power switch. I could turn it off. I turned it off, but I'm back. As you see, it's pretty slick. It works great. I can now run my GoPros without having to bring a external power supply if I don't want to. That is great. That is one of the best things I've done in a long time for my GoPro situation. Hopefully this helped you figure out if this is a kayak for you, and if so, go buy it so you can go fish all day. Tight lines.